How y'all doing? Good? Hey, listen, awesome day. Couldn't be more excited, and it's a great day for me of celebration, not only for our program and the 22 young men that we're bringing in, but most importantly for the young men, the student athletes who are fulfilling a lifelong dream of playing at the collegiate level, specifically in the SEC, and their families. So it's a culmination of sometimes 2 and 3 years worth of work and a lifetime worth of hard work for the kids. So that is absolutely fantastic, and we couldn't be more excited. Certainly there's a lot of people to thank in this process. First and foremost our administrators and leadership here that allow us to do the things that are necessary to be successful from a resources standpoint for recruiting. Certainly our recruiting staff, and I know you guys may have written a little bit about them or kind of delved into what they do, but, led by Mike Villagrana and going down the line, our recruiting staff has done a phenomenal job formulating a plan in terms of evaluation, getting us out on the road, seeing all the kids. And I think from a relationship building standpoint, we've done an unbelievable job there. So, certainly our recruiting staff deserves a lot of credit and a lot of thanks. Our assistant coaches, the way we work it is the head coach obviously has an incredibly integral part in this, and the thing that you're looking to do to differentiate yourself from maybe other people that have more winning tradition or more resources is that I felt like head coach involvement has to play a huge part in that, and these young men have heard from me every single day for 2 years or whenever it was permissible. But our assistant coaches and the way we do it is we have the area coach and the position coach both involved, so they're hearing from 3 different people, and certainly our recruiting communication staff, our assistants have done an unbelievable job. Certainly want to thank the high school coaches in the great state of Mississippi and the surrounding areas for their belief in us, belief in our program, and entrusting us to carry on the work that they've done. To the parents and to the young men and to their families, it's just very, very humbling and very rewarding that you have the type of players. And Hayden Fry, who just passed away, he had an old saying that you recruit your own problems, and I kind of look at that in a little bit different way. I think you recruit your own solutions, and then something in terms of checking off boxes. First and foremost, the kid has to have the athletic and football ability to help you win at this level, to win in the SEC and compete for a national championship. So all of our guys check off that box. But the next biggest thing to me is, do they check off the boxes of being great people and great communicators? And I think the thing that we've added with this class that to me excites me the most is you talk about winning with culture, that you talk about discipline, accountability, work ethic, attention to detail, selflessness. You see all those kids on that screen, big smiles, great families, and espousing the things that are necessary, that when they come in here, then you talk about doing the little things right. It's just not a thing on the back of a T-shirt. It's what these kids actually believe. And now for 3 classes back-to-back, 3 straight, top 25 classes, building on the momentum of 2 Egg Bowl wins, building on the momentum of 10, straight bowl games, 2 under this staff. And I think Coach Sherrill was the last one to have 2 in his first 2 years. And all the things, just the momentum and the positivity, it's all very, very exciting. And, certainly, honestly, most importantly, but our fans play a huge role in this too. And when you talk about the fan support here at Mississippi State, not just, out in the state, but here in this building, and the number of kids that we had at the Egg Bowl, or the number of the kids that we had and the fans that we had, and they talk about the atmosphere at this game. Our fans play a huge part in that, and I love our Mississippi State fans, and we've used the term family here a lot at Mississippi State, and and I believe that's true. And I come from I'm one of 3, and my dad's one of 8. And here's the thing with family. Everything's not always going to be peaches and cream, and it's not going to be, sunshine and unicorns. There are going to be disagreements. Sometimes I'm going to disagree with what my brother says. Sometimes he's going to disagree with what I have to say. But at the end of the day, when someone tries to come between you, all right, you're going to get back to back and you're going to fight your way out. And that's one thing that I appreciate is the passion of Mississippi State fans. But at the end of the day, they're going to defend their school, and they're going to support their kids, and they're going to support their coaches. So they played a huge role in that. You look at 17 of the 21 kids being from in-state, and I think that's important that we dominate our state, and I think we've done a very, very good job. making sure that, the message that we sent, we want to keep the top talent at home, where it's not like a place where a kid's born in a state and he has a talent and the expectation level is that he goes out of state and he goes somewhere else. That's been my philosophy here, that we got to do whatever we can to keep the best players in the state of Mississippi home and turn this into a place where kids don't have to go other places, where they could be Jeffrey Simmons, where they could be Kylan Hill, where they could be the type of kids that can achieve all their dreams athletically, academically, and socially at their state university, and turn this into a championship program that we win the SEC and we compete for a national championship. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired up. All right, but it was a huge day. Great job by Bill and his staff as well, and our marketing and social media. But, we can delve into some of the specifics, but great day to be a dog, and great to add 22 tremendous kids and their families to our program.
Questions? We'll get a mic to you.
I needed that. Thank you.
We'll start with Paul.
Coach, obviously signing day's going to bring emotions one way or the other, a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervous feelings until you see those faxes roll in and it's official. But the impact of getting all 22 guys in the early signing period. I think last year you only signed 12 or 13 in the early signing period.
We sure
that
did.
left for a lot of anxious
Consternation.
Exactly.
Yeah, hand wringing. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, listen, the one thing that, and this is year 21, and I've done it at different levels of football, but have done it at the BCS level, and I cannot recall a year when you have 21 commitments going into signing day and you get all 21 of those kids signed and there's not a defection or there's not. See, we got one good surprise today with no bad surprises, and I think, once again, that's a testament to the coaches in this state and the surrounding states. It's a testament to the parents and the players and their belief in us and the direction of this program and where we're going. And quite frankly, it's a testament to our I think, blue-collar, hard-nosed work ethic that you may do a lot of things better than us. One thing you're not going to do better than me and this staff in recruiting is you're not going to outwork us. It ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And talking to my wife this morning, she said, you've always been a tenacious recruiter. You've always gotten after it. But for the last 2 years, I've never seen you work as hard as you have at recruiting, and the staff as well, because attitude reflects leadership. So to have 21 kids committed and have 21 kids sign on signing day and not that's, once again, a credit to our staff, a credit to our kids, and a credit to the parents.
Joe, mainly, a lot of junior college players, mainly at defensive end and receivers. That just kind of help bridge a gap at those two positions?
Yeah. I think really what you have to look at from kind of a broad strokes perspective is needs by number analysis, and as you kind of go through the roster, you have a certain number per position based on 85, and where sometimes when we walked in here in two classes, there was one offensive lineman that made it to campus in two classes, and so you're kind of looking at the places where at defensive tackle coming out of last year, the two starters graduated and the three guys behind them. So I think more than anything, one, that the kids we're taking from JUCO are that talented, and two, it's stressing maybe a little bit of a specific need and that's where I'm kind of, I don't say getting used to, but the fact that you have the junior college system at your disposal here, and you can come and find kids who have played at the college level and are ready to step in and contribute immediately, I think that's been a great benefit to us. And I think you've seen a good balance, because I don't think you can take all junior college players, because there's a part of building a program that you need to have a certain amount, to me, of high school players, and I think there's just got to be a good balance of junior college and high school.
Robbie?
Hey, Joe, I know especially as an offensive guy, you want to get that quarterback on board pretty quickly and identify him. Last year you had to do that with Garrett.
Yeah.
This year you did it with Will. What kind of stood out about Will and, how he carries himself as quarterback on and off the field? I talked to his dad yesterday. He said he was in film room with Gardner Minshew when he was sixth grade. What kind of stood out about him whenever you were recruiting him?
Yeah, one thing that I believe is when the quarterback walks in a room, you shouldn't have to ask that he's a quarterback. And Will kind of comports himself that way, and obviously Wyatt's done a great job with Brandon as the offensive coordinator, and you can tell, hopefully, like my youngest one, he's been brought up around the game. So when you're talking to Will about preparation and the things that are necessary for a quarterback to have success, not just at the high school level, but at the college level, and not just the college level, but the SEC, you're not going to have to ask Will to come in and watch extra film. You're not going to have to ask Will to go to the field and throw extra routes. You're going to actually have to say whoa rather than sick him, and that's what I love about him. Big, athletic, strong arm, and will continue to work and get better. And You know, you just saw what he did during the season for Brandon, and, you know, certainly what he did in the Miss Al game was, to me, pretty dang impressive at the end of that game.
Tyler?
Given what you're losing at running back, obviously pretty important to get a couple good ones,
Yeah.
and you did. What do you like about those guys, and what do you think they can bring to the table right away?
You know, it was good, you know, to have Kareem come in last year as a junior college guy with Aries graduating, and now, you know, Kylan and Nick. So you have Kareem, who's kind of an older guy. Lee Witherspoon, I think all of us could sit here and agree that that kid's he's going to be pretty special. And now to add Woody or Jaquavius and Dylan in the fold, you know, one a 4-star guy and one a 3-star guy that should be a 4-star guy. You know, I think those guys are a great mix, and kind of, you know, the one thing in this system we've had over the years is a tremendous amount of success at the tailback position, and kind of the ingredients that you look for. You know, they you know, the intangibles and the tangibles, I think both of those guys can come in and have an opportunity to contribute early. And historically speaking, that is a spot in this offense where true freshmen, like you saw from Lee this year, can come in and play right away.
Now that you've done kind of all the heavy lifting with so many guys in this class, what's kind of left to do between now and February?
Now in February, well, we're going to have a certain amount to give, you know, moving forward. You know, talk to Mike Villagrana and Matt Wilson and Rod and them. And, you know, on my desk tomorrow, I want the top available players at a junior college, a grad transfer, and a high school level at certain positions that we're going to target. We're going to find out who they are, and we're going to go like hell after them to try to fill those remaining spots. And, you know, I'm on to 21. So, you know, I've been recruiting those kids. So they've been identified, and they're being recruited very hard. So, you know, this thing's going to end, and we're going to get to going on the remaining 20s, and we're going to recruit the heck out of the 21s.
Coach, playing off of Tyler's question a little bit, but when Kylan announced he was going into the draft, did you know already you were going to sign 2 running backs, or did you kind of scramble at the last minute to get
No.
one or the other?
Yeah, this had been the plan. We were going to take 2 in this class this year. The number, as you mentioned, needs by number at tailback is always 4 to 5, and you know, that's we're going to always carry 4 to 5 on the roster.
Brian?
Malik Heath's journey to Mississippi State has been a long one, as I'm sure as Paul will attest to. How imperative is it for him or for Caleb to come in as a JUCO receiver and be an immediate impact guy?
Yeah, I mean, you know, both of those guys, in terms of, you look at other teams in the SEC and what they play with, and you look at the kind of the physical attributes and the size and the speed and the skill level of outside receivers who have had a ton of success in this league. And I think, you know, Malik and Caleb both check off, you know, all those boxes. I think you kind of look at them from, you know, Caleb's 6'5", 200 pounds and runs sub 4.5. You know, he may need a little bit more development and seasoning. You know, at South Delta, I think he was a 1,200-yard receiver coming out of high school, had a ton of touchdowns, a little bit lower level football, then went on to Holmes where they run the triple. So, you know, we're excited to get him in, to develop him. I think he could play definitely one of the outside receiver positions. And Malik is a guy that's got all the tools. You know, he's got all the talent. He's just going to have to come in and compete and work and learn the system. But certainly 2 guys, when you talk about continuing to work on the improvement and the explosiveness and the efficiency of the pass game, guys who can come in and make an immediate impact.
Any other questions? We'll go to Paul, and then we'll go to Tyler.
Coach, obviously looking at the breakdown, pretty balanced class with 9 on offense and 11 on defense. When you see guys like Cameron Threed and Emmanuel Forbes in the secondary that could line up at various positions,
Yeah.
how do you go about doing that? Do you just wait till you get them in training camp or off-season workouts and just see where their strengths are?
Yeah, I think you get a pretty good gauge based on their high school film and kind of their body type and their skill set and the way that kind of football is going now. You know, most teams play with 5 DBs on the field anyway. Very rarely do you see 21 or 12 personnel where you got true base personnel where there's 3 linebackers. And like Brian Cole and Abram, for example, you know, playing the star position, that guy's got to be as much defensive back, you know, or corner as he is safety, because most of the time you get matched on, you know, Judy or Ruggs or Waddle or one of those guys. And if it's a man call, you got to be able to do them up and cover. So to me, it's, you know, you're playing defensive back, you're starting as a corner, and then the evolution really depends on, you know, the development and the need.
You mentioned all the guys that you got in state, 17 and 21, I think you said.
Is that right? That's not
This is 17 to 22.
22. I'm sorry, 21. I apologize.
When you first came here, obviously you want to be able to recruit in-state. Do you feel like you've lived up to that expectation? And what have your experiences been like being so successful and getting a lot of the Mississippi State guys to come to Mississippi State?
No, I mean, I think we've done a very good job. You know, obviously when we got here year one, I think I was hired on the 26th, and signing day wasn't that far away. And as much as that was management rather than evaluation and a relationship building, because that's something you had to do very quickly. But you look at last year's class and this year's class on top of it, and you go through the rankings and, you know, see who the top players in the state were and maybe some of the developmental guys. And I think that's part of the beauty of this state, that you're going to have guys who are highly ranked and justifiably so, and you got to do a great job keeping those guys at home. But this is one of the most unique states that I've seen where it's not oversaturated or over-recruited from a national standpoint, and you can go in and find a guy like Caleb Ducking who's got no offers, and he comes to your camp and no one knows about him, and he walks out of here with an SEC offer. So to answer your question, I think we've done a very, very good job in state. I know you're not going to get all of them, but once again, if we could just make a concerted effort between, you know, the coaches, the players, the families, and our staff to keep the best at home, then we can be like everyone else and do what everyone else is doing. And obviously, listen, I know it gets frustrating sometimes because you want to offer them all, but you can't. You know, there's some that are good enough, but you just can't offer because of needs or because of numbers like that. But I promise you, we're doing our dangest to make sure that this thing starts inside out, and we're evaluating and developing relationships and doing our best to keep all the kids in state at home.
And going off of that, speaking of relationships, in there you mentioned Dylan Johnson as a guy that kind of kept everybody together last year, probably Jerry and Jones. How important have guys like that been in making sure the chemistry is right and you know, getting all those guys to stay committed to one goal?
Yeah, there wasn't as much. I don't know if there'll ever be another Jarian in terms of that, but there was probably a lot more keeping together that had to be done last year than this year, because we've been recruiting this class for a lot longer. So I think the relationships were there between the coaches and the families, between the coaches and the players, and quite frankly, between the players and the players. And one of the things I remarked on the official visit weekend, where almost all the kids in this class were here, that when this year's class was interacting with J-Dub and DeMonte and Pick's class, it almost seemed like that it was one class. And I think that's to me is the harbinger. That's when it's something special is brewing when there's, you know, it almost seems like that was one class that's been recruited. So that's definitely a very solid foundation. And, you know, certainly Dylan and, you know, some of the other guys will, and I mean, you could go on across the board, but it just seems like these kids were all kind of in their mind determined that they were going to come play at state for a very long time.
Anything else? Great. Thank you.
Good. All right. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the day. Hail State.